and welcome to today's video. Today I'm doing something kind of like a tips and tricks versus a tutorial or talking about makeup. So this is a little bit different for me, but this is something I think is really helpful for everyone. Everyone kind of has a different take on traveling and what works for them, what doesn't work for them. So if you have things that work for you in traveling, leave that in the comments section below. And like I said, if something works for you, like I would love to know what it is, because obviously anything that makes traveling easier, I want that boat. So these are my tips and tricks. I have traveled quite a bit. I studied abroad, so when I was over in Spain I got to travel a lot with my friend, and we saw a lot of really cool places and did a lot of really fun things. So this is kind of what I've learned from traveling and going, over to Europe a couple of times, and just kind of, what helps me. And even if you're going on like a domestic flight over, to the next city in your state, these are tips and tricks that can help you still. So without further ado, I wrote them on my phone so I wouldn't forget and I wouldn't become long-winded, because that usually happens to me. So my first tip is have your itinerary written in some form. So whether that's printed, you've just printed it from your email, or you physically just wrote it down. I think that this is really important to have, the city you're flying in, you know what city you're flying out of if you're in that city, like from that city. So let's say I live in St. Louis, so if I'm flying St. Louis to Washington DC, I would write St. Louis to Washington DC. I put the flight number down and the time I leave and the time I arrive. So then that way I know, okay, so I'm getting here at this time and I have this much time until we board, and all of that information. And then that way, this is really, it's helpful if you just have one flight, but if you have connecting flights, like let's say I'm trying to go to London, so from St. Louis, which no flights can go out of St. Louis, so I would fly St. Louis to Charlotte and Charlotte to London. So I would I'd write St. Louis to Charlotte, and then I would put that flight information, and then I'd do Charlotte to London, and then I put that flight information. And then that way I can tell, like, okay, I have an hour and a half layover, so when I get off the plane, I need to immediately go find my gate and find my terminal, or whatever it is. If you have to do, a different change, you have to go from A to C or whatever. That way, I only have this much time, I gotta hustle. So that is my first tip, is just kind of have that little aspect of organization. Even if you're not an uber organized inherently person, it's something that is very helpful, and it will help you get to your final destination. And then my next tip is, if you have a long layover, so even if it's just a few hours, so like 2 or 3 hours, I would say is a long layover, because by the time, an hour to an hour and a half, you have to get there, they're basically boarding, and you simmer down. But anything like 2-3 hours, I've had layovers as long as like 6 hours, and by yourself in the Philly airport, it's not so fun. But if you have a long layover, like have books or have magazines that you've already brought with you from home, that you bought at Walmart or Walgreens or Target or wherever, because it's going to be, or Borders, this does not exist anymore, Emily. Barnes and Noble. So if you bought those things already, it's going to be so much cheaper than trying to buy it in the bookstores or those little like Hudson Newses in the airport, because those things are so overpriced. And like once I couldn't find a Carmex when I was trying to leave Madrid, and my lips were so chapped, and I was like, I'll just buy a Carmex, and I paid, I kid you not, $6 for that Carmex. And yeah, no Carmex is worth $6. So just try and keep those things prepared, and especially books and magazines, like those things are so overpriced in airports. So just slip one of those in your carry-on, and you will be set for your long layover. And then my next tip is to wear comfortable clothes and shoes. So unless you are going to like a business meeting right when you get off the plane, I personally take the method of I'm going to wear whatever comfortable, and I don't really care if I look like I'm just a hot mess. of a person, so I'll usually put my hair up in a messy bun, and I will wear leggings or yoga pants and a t-shirt and like a sports bra. Like I will literally look as ratchet as I possibly can, and it doesn't even tend to be that way. Or I'll wear a sweatshirt because I get cold on planes, as I'm sure most people do because they keep those things at like icebox temperature. And yeah, that's what I wear on a plane. And or like flip-flops. I always wear flip-flops, except one time an escalator in an airport ate my flip-flop. No joke. So that was an interesting, at least it was on the way home, but yeah. So yeah, I just like to wear comfortable clothes for the obvious reasons. If you are, especially on a long flight, like if I'm flying St. Louis to Chicago or something like that, or you know, wherever, a short flight, it's, you know, you don't have to be super cute. You don't have to be super comfortable, you can be cute, whatever. But like if you're flying for a long time, like even across the country or flying to like another country, and you have a long way to go, like wearing comfortable clothes and you're on a plane for an extended period of time, it's going to be way better than, you know, trying to be cute and miserable the entire like 12 hours you're in the air. So just my next tip is to stay hydrated. So this is really important just because, and this is something for me, and I go through phases where I'm like addicted to water. So now love soda. Like I drink Diet Coke like it's water, which is not very hydrating, but staying hydrated when you're flying, I'm really off topic again. Staying hydrated when you're flying is really important because I personally get really like bloated when I'm flying, and that's partially to do with the fact that you get really dehydrated and then your body wants to retain like everything. And part of it is also just atmospheric pressure differences, but yeah, so it's important to stay hydrated. And when you're gonna be on a plane for a really long time, just the air is so dry and everything is so dry, so staying hydrated is gonna help your eyes from not feeling scratchy and irritated, from your skin not like dying of dehydration like a desert. And if you have oily skin, even, it's gonna make, if you are really dehydrated and your skin is feeling very dehydrated, like physiologically, it's going to produce more oil, so that's not something you want either. So either way, you really just want to stay hydrated. Okay, so my next tip is if you're sick and you have to fly, which I know really sucks, and people are going to look at you like you're the devil because you're like coughing or sneezing and they don't want to get sick, which obviously you didn't want to be sick either, but you have to fly and you have to deal with it. So what I really recommend is if you have to fly, just take medicine with you so you're not miserable your entire journey. So if you're having like migraines, ibuprofen or Excedrin or whatever, or if you have like a sinus infection, which I'm really sorry you have to fly with that. What is it called? It's what's that nose stuff? Afrin. Okay. So something I would really recommend if you're having like sinus problems or just like inner ear problems, is to fly with Afrin. The only thing is with Afrin you have to be careful because you can become you physiologically become addicted after like 72 hours of, if you use it more than 72 hours, which is like the recommended dosage. Like don't use it past this for whatever, a week. So, but if you're flying, like I hope you're not flying for 72 hours, so, or more than 72 hours. So what I would do when I've had to fly would just like, I wasn't like sick anymore, it was just like still affecting my sinuses and my ears, and I was flying over to Budapest, so my the pressure, you have to get really high in the air when you're flying, so from that distance, so the pressure was really killing me. So I had luckily enough brought Afrin, and I would use that, and you would use it like once every 10 or 12 hours, so I would use that right before I would get on the plane. It helps your sinuses open up, it helps your inner ear open up, and then you fly, and it's gonna stop you from like rupturing an eardrum or the crazy shit that can happen at altitude. So it helps with those things, and yeah, like I said, just don't be addicted because that's not cute. And then the last trick I have, or tip I have, is to have a little like goodie bag. So even if you are checking your bag to your final destination, have a little bag with you so that has like a little toothbrush. Well, the ones I recommend are those like, who makes them, like Colgate Wisp, I think. I don't know, but they're like little baby toothbrushes, and then they have a toothpaste like ball in the middle, so like you physically brush your teeth with that, and then you know, it helps freshen your breath so you're not killing your neighbor, and it just helps keep everything fresh. I also recommend having like little face towelettes or something that can kind of help you if you have oily skin, kind of wash your face, or if you just have dry skin and your face is feeling like germy and gross, just like wiping it down. A little baby moisturizer, just things like that. Chapstick, so you don't spend $6 on a chapstick. And what else do I recommend having in there? Yeah, definitely just like the basics, like things like, even if you're on a 4-hour flight or something, you know, like maybe you're going on a 4-hour flight to your like boyfriend or girlfriend and you're like, I should brush my teeth before I see them, or you're on a long flight and you don't want to literally kill your neighbor with your breath. So yeah, things like that really help. And yeah, chapstick, moisturizer, a little baby deodorant, stuff like that. So, and then that way it kind of gives you a reason if you're on a long flight. I personally don't like to stand up because I like window seats. So if I'm sitting in the window, I feel really awkward like crawling over people. So I usually just like sit there like, don't move, don't move, don't move. But I also see the benefit of walking and stretching because that's what's good for you. It's not good for you to sit like 9 hours in this kind of pressure, but whatever. So that kind of also gives you a reason, like go stand up, you can go to the bathroom, you can brush your teeth, you can put on deodorant, you can wash your hands, you can actually go to the bathroom, and you just kind of like get to have a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a break, get your blood circulating through your legs so you don't get blood clots, you know, the usual. And yeah, that is it for this edition of my travel tips and tricks. If you liked it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, I have a lot of like interesting traveling stories and traveling tips and tricks and things like that. Things much more interesting than $6 chapstick and a flip-flop getting eaten. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more things like that. And I also want to hear your tips and tricks, and yeah, you could go subscribe because then you'll actually get updates on such things. But I will see you guys next time. Bye!